Now, the first thing that we should do is to put 3 thin layers of our glue. In my case, I've been using this glue in Canada for the last 10 years. I bought this one from Home Depot. It's legal. It is exactly the same water-based glue that you buy, I think $30 per small amount from table tennis manufacturer, but it is the same thing. It's contact cement that is water-based. The good thing about it is you can make hundreds or not hundreds, maybe 50 blades gluing that much of a rubber out of this for the price of $10. And it's available at Home Depot and Walmart. Now, the trick is to put 3 thin layers of glue on the OX, on the long pimple top sheet, and the sponge. Remember that this is just the top sheet without the sponge. And we will do the same on the wood. Now, on the side note, I will let you in on a secret. You see, about in the 80s, when Challenger Butterfly Challenger was still popular, from Butterfly short pimple, we accidentally stumbled upon the principle of tensioning or tensor. What happened during the time is, after your blade is all wood, we do not have carbon then in the 70s. Well, Nitaku introduced the first carbon, I still remember. After several uses, you accidentally sometimes hit the blade on the table, inside the bag, or or on the floor, and you cause dent. And in order to make it even again, we would bring our blade to a wood workshop and ask the person there to grind it. And after several grinding, the blade will become smaller. Now, you can only shave it so much. Actually, after several shaves, you have to replace the blade. But the problem is, you want still to use the rubber on the blade. If you're using a new blade, the rubber will be smaller than the blade. So what we did on one occasion, what I did was, I forced my Challenger to fit in the new blade, which is slightly bigger. Mind you, it's bigger by only 2 or 3 millimeters. What I did is, I put glue, and when I started to glue it, I started to stretch the sponge and the whole rubber onto the blade. And after I did that, when I use it, I saw an increase in speed control and spin. Lo and behold, we stumbled upon tensor. Now, why am I saying this? Is because we can do exactly the same thing here. By the way, ITTF only require us to put a top sheet that has ITTF number, that is ITTF approved. So what we're doing here is legal. It's safe. You can go to the tournament and play with this. But I am telling you, this is intended for people who want to try long pimple. And because of this thick sponge, 1.8, it will be easier for them to use it, to study. After this, you can move. If long pimple is your rubber, if it is your style, you can move to a new game. You can move to a new rubber, rather, more expensive one like TSP. But this is the cheapest way, and I'm telling you, by the moment you start using it, you will be amazed by the amount it chews up power and speed and speed. It will throw your opponent off. So I'm using a black sponge from Michael's or any Dollarama or dollar store. I got it for 50 cents. And this was intended actually as a mouse for our church. I will be buying several to put it in our church. Now, I will put the layer, the glue, thin, but even. I want you to concentrate on the word even. It should be even. You do not want any ripple or any uneven part on the sponge and the content of the sponge or the glue between the sponge and the sheet. Thin layer and 3 layers. And you have to do this 3 times, okay? Now, on my first trial in stretching the butterfly challenger, I noticed that after several days, the rubber, because I was using contact cement or rubber contact cement, after several days, a week or 2, the rubber starts to go back to its original shape. Slowly it started to shrink, and I have to remove it again and to stretch it. Now, we found an alternative. What we did, we sacrificed one blade, one old wood blade, and tried to use a different kind of glue. We used an ordinary Elmer's glue, the white one, that hardened when it dries. So we used that. What we did, we put Elmer's glue on the wood and on the rubber, put it in a wood, flat wooden surface like this. We put the glue while still wet. We stretch the rubber on top of it by using 4 thumbtacks. After it's properly set in the middle, while still the glue is wet, we put books, encyclopedia, several volumes of it, and allow it to dry for a night or a day. After that, we cut it. And it stayed like that until I removed it about 4 to 5 years ago. Was it still playable? The answer is no, because the foam was already dead. It was an old rubber. But the point is, if you will use Elmer's glue that hardened, it will keep that tension in the sponge until you decide to remove it. Now, there's one problem. How can you remove a hardened? That's the thing. You can't. So, but if you're using a wood, in this case, I am using an off-the-shelf. I got this from a garage sale for $1 for 4 sets, and I am using it as a demo. And I will show you later on how to do it, how to stretch it, tension it. I will not be tensioning it though in this application. I will just show you how you can do it. So while we're waiting for it to dry up, we will pause the video.